Welcome back to another tutorial demo. So I'm going to do the first design solid tutorial, which is this little funky bracket with some holes in it and little counter bores on either end. And there's 4 activities in it. I'm just going to go follow the steps and do this. I hope this is beneficial to you. So first thing, I got Fusion up. Click this little show data panel, go down to basic training, double click that, go to 04 modeling, double click that, find this 04 model from sketch, double click that. You get this thing right here. We need to save it, so we can close the data panel, click this drop arrow, go save as, and I want to make a new project, so I'll click this drop arrow and click new project. I'm going to name it solid toots and press enter. Okay, that was I just made a new project called solid toots. Select it and then go to the front and rename this thing my 04 model from sketch. I'm not sure why you have to do that. I don't think you really have to, but they ask you to do that. Then click save. And if you did this right, when you go back to the data panel and you click home, there's a project square here that's called solid toots. If you double click that, there's my design. Okay, so what do we have? If you hold down shift and press the center mouse button, which is often the scroll wheel, you can do this orbit, right? So we've got what's happening if you expand the browser, this arrow right here, expand this, there's 2 sketches. The first sketch is these circles and arcs and lines in the, looks like the XY plane. And the second sketch is, well, this line and this line are in the XZ plane, it looks like. And how do I know? I'm looking at this little cube up here and just thinking really hard. And then this rectangle down here is parallel to the XZ plane, but below it. Okay, so that's what we're provided with, all right? So I'll escape out of this and press the home, camera, home button. We should figure out what that's called. View, I guess. This is the view cube, I suppose. I'll call it that from now on. All right. So we're going to do a bunch of extrusions in this tutorial in about 5 or 6 different ways. So first we want to click this area, hold down shift, click that, click that, click that. Those areas are called profiles. I guess they're areas that are in between lines. I guess they call that profiles. Not to be confused with faces. Faces are on solid surfaces, but profiles are just areas between lines. Anyway, we have these profiles. Right click it, select extrude. We want to change the direction to 2 sides. We want to change the extent to 2 object for both sides. Change that to 2 object. Then for the first side, click the select button and then click this point right here. And what it did is it extruded all those profiles out to that point. Okay, then we can orbit around this side. We can click the second select button and click this other point. So it extruded out to this other point. And clicked OK to accept that. All right, so we've got this solid body here with all these faces on it and 3 holes in it. Okay, that's what we got. Okay, the next extrusion, well, you notice that the sketches are no longer visible, so go to this browser over here and click these little eyeballs and turn the sketches back on. Now what we want to do is take this circle that's in here, and we want the profile. That is, we want the area inside that circle, which we can't really select because there's too much junk in the way. So if you click and hold, you get a menu, and then you can cycle through. You see how that's a face? It's on the solid. And then, so all the surfaces on solids are called faces, but what we want is this profile, which is just the area inside the circle. Okay, it's called a profile. So click that. Then you can right click just anywhere in the canvas if you want and click extrude. Now we want direction, we want symmetric, and distance, we could just drag this arrow out to 20. Okay, and because it's symmetric, it's doing that on both sides. You can see in here it's doing that, and then select OK. Okay, so that's just another way to do an extrusion. We could have done that first extrusion this way, but they're just trying to show you different ways to do extrusions. All right, that was a second extrusion. Okay, we're going to do another extrusion. We're going to cut a hole through this whole thing, but we need to draw a circle first. So select sketch 1, right click and select edit sketch, center diameter circle, center point, 10 millimeter diameter. Okay, then we're finished with the sketch. So we just added another circle. We went to sketch mode, added a circle, and then terminated sketch mode. All right, now this face here, select that, because we're going to project. We're going to project this circle onto this, to the plane of this face. So right click that face, select sketch, then project. Now it changes the view, the camera view, which I don't like, so I'm going to orbit back to this so I can see what's going on, right? Then select the it's the circle. Select the circle. Now, see, I'm hovering over the circle that I just drew in the XY plane. And then you can see the red circle that's being projected onto the object's left face. Right now, you can't really see that in the tutorial because the camera orientation. All right, but that's what we want. You want to click this circle, okay, and then the projected circle turns magenta now for some strange reason. Then you click OK, and it went into sketch mode because we're sketching another circle just on this new face. So it's doing another sketch. So we can terminate sketch mode. We can say OK. All right, so we just sort of projected this. We drew another circle on that's lined up with this plane, the plane of this edge. That's what we drew. All right, now select the area inside that circle, or the profile inside that circle. Then right click it, select extrude, go to object, orbit around the other side, click this edge, right? And it does this, and the extrusion turns red, and the operation changes to cut. I guess it changes to cut because it's going through another object and coming out the other side. I don't know, but make sure it's cut, which is what we want, and then click OK. All right, and it does a, whoa, sorry, I zoomed. It does this hole through there, right? So what we just did, we drew a circle in the XY plane, projected that circle onto this face, and then used the area inside that circle to extrude a cylinder all the way through to the other side, and then used that cylinder to cut a hole. That's what we did. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go back to the sketch on the browser, right click, edit sketch, go circle, diameter, circle, center. Diameter here is 24, if I remember correctly. And we're finished with the sketch. I like to orbit over to here. We're going to do another projection, all right? So you click this face to select it, then right click it, click sketch, project. Okay, it changes the viewpoint orientation, which I don't like, so I'm going to orbit back to this configuration. Now hover over this circle and you get the red projection onto the face. Click that, circle, click OK. We just sketched a new circle, so click this green check mark for finishing the sketch. Okay, now we've got this new circle here. Okay, now we can click the profile, the area inside that circle. All right, and we can right click it and select extrude, and we can just drag it back -10. Yeah, and the operation is cut, and that's what we want. We say okay, and it cuts this counter bore. All right, so it's another way to do a counter bore. On the other side, we made some counter bores and a different series of operations. They're just trying to show you like 5, 6 different ways to do these extrusions. Okay, now we want to mirror that over to the other side. So you might not be able to select this set of surfaces here, which they call a feature. So what they say is to go down to this history bar down at the bottom, and that feature is called Extrude 7. Click on the history bar and it selects the thing we just made, this counter bore feature. Then go to create mirror and click where it says mirror plane, select. We need to select the mirror plane. Click that button, the select button. And all kinds of planes that you might want to pick show up. The ones around the origin show up. They're buried in here. So to get I want the XY plane. So click and hold, all right? And you get a menu. See, I could select that face, which I don't want. I want this XY plane, right? So click that XY plane. You get a ghosted image up here of what it's going to look like, which is what we want. Say OK. You could orbit around the other side and you can see the counter bore on both sides. Okay, cool, huh? Okay, the last thing to do is pick this rectangle here, right click it, extrude, just drag the arrow up, and as it passes through the object, it cuts it. And the operation changed to cut. Everything's cool. You just click OK, and you get this business right here. It's pretty cool. So that's the object. Now, what's really cool about this parametric design is there's all these parameters, like this counter bore right in here. That's, if you go down to the history and kind of mouse over these things, you'll see that is called Extrusion 5. So if you go up to modify, change parameters, you can find Extrusion 5, and it was a 20 millimeter extrusion from the XY plane. I could change that to a 23 millimeter extrusion, and the counter bore gets shallower. Okay, in here this counter bore got shallower, and because it was so symmetric, was it symmetric or both sides? I don't remember, but it was one of those. It fixes it on both sides. more stuff you can do. You could go back to the sketch, right click, edit sketch. Oops, that's the wrong one. Just finish that. It was sketch. Was it sketch 1? What I'm trying to do. Right click, edit sketch. You could just like change diameters and stuff. Like I could change this to 22. You know, even more cooler than that is I can grab these points and I can move them around. See how over in here it's not tangent? Oh, that bothers me. I'm gonna escape and click this tangent constraint. Click this arc and this line to add a tangent. Now they're tangent in here. See, got this little tangent symbol. Now when I go back to select, I can click this point and I can drag it around, and it maintains all the constraints. It's pretty cool. And like, see, for example, like I could grab this point and move this. I mean, this bracket, assuming it's some kind of bracket or rocker arm, it's attached to some other parts, right? And it's quite common. You might want to change, you know, the geometry. You might want to change the location of this hole because the parts that it mate to is being changed. And because of all these constraints, everything else changes. It's pretty neat. Let's see, what else could I do? You could change other diameters and things, but when I finish the sketch, everything is automatically updated. Now, you can see the square hole is kind of messed up because I would have needed to make that hole smaller, really. But you know, you could do that. Anyway, that's the idea with parametric design. It's pretty powerful, pretty amazing. All right, I hope this was a useful video. Just follow the steps in the tutorial, but you know, I hope this little demo helps you understand what they're asking you to do. Have fun. Thank you.